was strong. He pulled me off. He did the business on me. He pulled me off.
It's like my granddad used to say, it's always good to start with a wanking joke, unless you're 99% of YouTube and terrified of demonetisation. Yeah, he said that whole sentence in 1995. But it is not 1995, it is 2025. Video games were good in 95. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I guess one of the Sonics would have been out. Anyway, it's that time again. Let's talk about some bad bastardry. Can you say bastardry on YouTube anymore? Can you say anything? Oh shit. Hello everyone, Stephanie Sterling here. We've got just some more rubbish in the game industry to talk about. This one is a personal bugbear of mine. I've not seen it brought up much. I'm sure many people don't think it's that big of a problem, but I think it's a very telling one, and it certainly pisses me off. As someone who is an impulse purchaser and, you know, legit has a bit of an issue with that. But nonetheless, I do appreciate a good special edition. This is one of my best ones, the Octopath Traveler one, right? First of all, comes with a coin. I'm always a sucker for, like, artifacts from a game world. And then this is probably one of the classiest uses of a collector's edition box ever. Hang on, I'm ruining it now. I can't see, and I don't want to crinkle it. But yeah, the actual box and that is a pop-up book, and that's good. That's classy. That bit of class. I tell you what isn't classy, it's the way that video game companies are taking away from stuff like this, have been taking away from stuff like this in favour of digital shit, and now they're taking away from the digital shit because there's increasingly little for them to take away anymore. Now, these digital deluxe editions, they don't tempt everybody. As I've said about all of the monetization in the game industry, tempting everybody isn't the point, at least with each individual tactic. They've just got to target enough of the right people, the people they're preying on. And the trouble with a video game company is enough is never enough. As I say, they're running out of things to take, which means they need more people suckered in. They need more prey, fresh meat. So they want to make the digital deluxe edition more tempting, but they don't want to add more shit. So early access, or at least their twisted, perverted version of early access, which is designed to rope in a lot more people because, as time has tested and proven, FOMO is a terrifyingly powerful motivator. How much would you pay to play a game 2 days early? How much is that worth to you? $5? $10? How about $20? Would you fork over $20 to play a computer game for 2 days? Would you fork that $20 over and not feel buyer's remorse when those 2 days are up and you have nothing? Okay, during this rental period, you've accrued progress on a game that cost you $20 more than it did everybody else. Maybe that's enough to keep the regret at bay. Now, how much would you pay to play a game 2 days early? How much is that worth to you? $10? $15? How about $25? And how much would you pay to play a day and a half early? How much is that worth to you? $5? $10? How about $20? How much are you willing to pay? And how little will you accept for it? That's the question video game publishers ask themselves daily. Hell, they ask themselves that by the minute. How much are you willing to pay them, and how little can they get away with giving to you in return? Over the last 10 years, I've witnessed in dismay and horror the gutting of the video game as an art form and as a product. The concept of Enshittification, Products getting worse even as companies charge more for them has become ever more ingrained in the public sphere. We all know a bag of crisps has less in it than it used to, and the word could aptly apply to over a decade of the mainstream video game industry's methodical dismantling. DLC became en vogue and base games shrank as content migrated. Microtransactions became en vogue and DLC shrank as content migrated. Season passes snuck in to pick at the bones of base games and content migrated. Battle passes became a recyclable form of the season pass, and content was just a big fucking mess at that point. The base game, it is but a shadow of its former self, which puts paid to the amount of developers who, when this all started, said we're not cutting content from the game to sell as DLC. No, not directly and instantly. Just like Walkers didn't produce a bag with more crisps in it and then actively reach their hand in and take them out. That was never how the carving and paywalling of content worked. The corporate thralls and misrepresenting it that way just thought you were dumb enough to believe them. We all know that a bag of crisps has less in it than it used to. Meanwhile, the old classic moneymaker, the special edition, experienced a separate enshittification of its own. Robust collector's editions were joined by digital deluxe editions. Digital deluxe editions splintered into multiple versions with tiered content offerings, and then quietly shrank as those microtransactions and season and battle passes went a picking there too. And the bones are clean. There's nothing left to take. Such is the inevitable end state of unchecked wanton greed. So now we have their sick version of early access, the ultimate carrion feeder. Perhaps the most blatant step of enshittification the business has ever seen, at least for now. Because you may not have noticed it, as I've not seen many people bring it up, but I sure have noticed it. I mean, not seen people bring it up, that was a badly written sentence. I've noticed that this whole pay now for 2 or 3 days of FOMO relief trend is starting to absolutely tear apart what little was left of the very notion of the special edition, as publishers have realised they can literally get away with charging money for nothing. Dynasty Warriors Origins has a special edition. It costs $20 more than the base game at $89.99. It's almost worthless now, unless you count the system-locked MP3s and JPEGs calling themselves a digital soundtrack and digital art book, and let's face it, nobody ever did. That extra $20 for Dynasty Warriors Origins gets you a couple of in-game love letters. Basically like if you spent $20 for Resident Evil and you got like 1 or 2 diary entries. A couple of in-game letters with some resources attached that, on the whole, are pretty negligible. It's an amount of gold that soon becomes a pittance compared to what you need, and the same goes for the resources you get for a crafting system so bad it actually shouldn't be called a crafting system, it should be called a bloody embarrassment. The amount you spend for these materials actually amounts to a worse deal than the average microtransaction. See, the main attraction, the sales pitch, the actual content of the special edition, it doesn't exist anymore. It has vanished into the ether. If you buy that more expensive version of the game now, you will have significantly less than the people who did it 3 days before the game came out, but hey, that's okay. Those people sure as hell have the same as you do now. The pre-order bonuses were actually better. Digital deluxe editions were always a bit of a piss take, but they at least had, you know, like actual content in exchange for the markup, and for now many of them still do, but you may have noticed it's been getting less and less over time, even though the base game price hike from $60 to $70 meant they started charging significantly more for the deluxe ones as well. For many years now though, publishers have known how powerful FOMO, the fear of missing out, is. I did a video on their malicious manipulation of FOMO about 6 years ago, and it's culminated in the big early access scam, the charging of money for something even more ethereal than digital content, because it isn't content at all. It is, as I said a moment ago, literally nothing, because that's all these companies have left to sell you. They still need their precious growth to appease their fucking shareholders. But I think this best represents their state of mind now.
I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left.
As with with all game industry scams, publishers simply railroaded it as a joint effort until it became normal. That's what they've always done. They work in concert to just repeat a shady business practice until everyone gets used to it, which allows them to move the line of Enshittification incrementally forward. It's hard to think these publishers are actually in competition with each other, since they aid and abet each other. It's always been them versus you. It's now an expected thing to see a game offer so-called early access in exchange for a pre-order, or indeed as part of a more expensive version of the game. That was good, publishers thought, but good is not enough. Nothing is ever enough for companies that exist only to make all the money in the world, and they're disguising it for now, still offering a smattering of token items along with the main draw. But make no mistake, that transitory, temporary 2 or 3 days of early access is what you're paying for now. The rest, like a couple of fucking love letters, is just window dressing, and you know that even that's more than what they want to give you, and it's bullshit. Play early, my abundant and majestic ass. Earlier than what? The launch day? Mate, the first day your game is available to play is fucking launch day, and putting a goddamn paywall around it doesn't alter the fact you launched the game. It's available to buy and play. That's what launched is. Launching a game is, you know, launching a game, which is literally what you've done when you've literally launched the game. You fucking clowns! The very notion of early access when the company selling it is the same company that arbitrarily sets the release date is a fucking joke, and as I've protested in the past, I absolutely will not accept that a so-called early access date isn't the official launch date of a game. I'm not stupid, and that's what publishers think you are when they try to tell you that a second launch day is day 1. That's day 2, or day 3, or day 4. It sure as semen isn't day 1, because day 1 means the first day the game was available for sale and playable. With the early triple access scam, publishers are trying to redefine how fucking calendars work. They're trying to redefine time itself, which, considering the big lie of corporate growth is trying to redefine physics, isn't out of character for them, and it's already made a liar of at least Microsoft. This one situation got its own video a while back, where I first started what this video culminates. Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass is a subscription service that promises day 1 access to video games, but that stopped being true the moment said day 1 game started charging outside of the service to play the game on the first day of its availability, i.e. day 1, because that's how fucking time works. The fact this applies to games Microsoft itself publishes just shows you how willing companies are to decimate their own value prospects, and how shamelessly they'll offer a shittier product and know it. New games available on day 1 was one of the biggest selling points of Game Pass, but such is the inability of a corpo to resist the lure of greed, Microsoft just couldn't control itself. And wouldn't you know, since my last video on the topic, Game Pass introduced tiers and price hikes, where on top of already devaluing itself, the subscription is offering less service for more money. Enshittification. Early triple access is a wanton, shameless fucking scam. It was already a scam as just one of several selling points in a deluxe edition, but that it's actively encroaching on those other selling points makes it truly vile. They're replacing content with literally nothing, and as more and more companies start using early access as the biggest leverage in their so-called deluxe editions, we'll see more and more games in the same situation as Dynasty Warriors Origins. After 2 or 3 days, the deluxe edition has almost fucking bloody fuck all to show for itself. The very reason it costs $90 is gone, lost. The very moment the deluxe edition became accessible, its deluxeness evaporated at a rapid rate. You get more longevity out of a bunch of flowers. And again, having a digital soundtrack to fall back on is a pathetic joke. That was already desperate padding to make deluxe editions look more valuable than they were. They were already filler in the physical collector's editions of games, but with the deluxe versions, they're just grasping at straws. We all know how to access any video game soundtrack these days. You type the name of the game, followed by OST in YouTube, and boom, instant digital soundtrack. And this one isn't inconveniently restricted to playing on a video game console. God, it would be bloody embarrassing if a video game tried to sell a deluxe edition that consists of nothing but a few JPEGs and MP. Oh, and of course, the sheer poisoning of the term early access is indicative of big publisher behavior as well. That had a perfectly good meaning before the companies pulling this shit moved in to pervert it for their own ends, rather than being a way to provide games that that need it with funding while they're still in development, early access is being twisted to mean this fucking scam. At the very least, it's polluted the water since, well, early access means two things now. One of them conceptually positive, one of them financially deceptive. And like, how dare they? How fucking dare they keep taking good ideas and warping them to serve their own disgusting ends because they got no ideas of their own, but a desperate need to imagine new ways to extract money from your wallet. Bunch of
Skellington Warriors, diddle-dee-doo-da-doo, diddle-doodle-dee-diddle-dee-da-doo, Skellington Warriors.
But what I hate most about early triple access is how well it works. In today's social media world where conversations are only hot for so long and pop culture has worse ADHD than I have, the rush to jump on something when everyone else is talking about it has an incredibly strong allure. The thought that a game you're excited about could be in your hands right now can make a lot of people worryingly susceptible. And I include myself in that as someone who is an impulsive purchaser who has problems with that and has the added snag of being able to say, well, it's for my job, it's so I can review it. FOMO, unfortunately, isn't some marketing department bullshit, it's a very real phenomenon. The fear of missing out being a disconcertingly powerful motivator. Publishers know this. Publishers prey on this, and as soon as they figured out just what an effective selling point their twisted version of early access was, it was all over for whatever value prospect special editions of video games might have had. As soon as a game publisher learns what it can get from a deal, it begins working out what it can withhold from that deal, and then all the publishers aid and abet themselves to normalise that withholding. I do have to wonder, will we see it? Will we see a game that simply asks for more money to play it at launch and that's it? Will it dispense even with a token effort to make a deluxe edition not look like that and just literally say, give us some free money and you get 3 days of the exact same game you'll get in 3 days? It sounds brazen as fuck, but after over 10 years of video games being shaven away piecemeal, would it be any more brazen than the industry-wide takes-his-backsies we've had to sit by and watch? No, it really wouldn't. Tecmo Koei pretty much already did it. All they have to do now is drop the wafer-thin veil. I'm genuinely in despair when I think about this now. Like, just when I look at the industry and what it's become, and what everything has become. I remember when a bag of crisps had more crisps in it and cost less. And eventually, there won't be anyone left who does. I truly despair. It's horrible. And they're not done. This isn't the bottom of the barrel. I've been doing this job a long time, and I have seen them hit the dirt. I have seen them hit the subterranean rock beneath. I've seen them bore through that crust bit, and now they're down where the lava is, and they're trying to get deeper. They're going to come out the other side and float around it. This metaphor has gotten away from me. God, the game industry is horrible. The worst thing is I now have to go and play Altered Beast for the PS2. Because I might do something on that. Or not. It's really bad. Thank God for me. I'm gonna go over there now.